On this episode of How to Make Dinner, I'm making a nice little dinner for just me. Welcome to another episode of How to Make Dinner. I'm Paula, and today I'm really excited because it's Friday night. I just cracked a beer. I'm home alone, and I'm just gonna make a nice little dinner for me. I know a lot of people don't like cooking for themselves, and it can be challenging for sure, but I really like it because I can just make whatever I want. And I usually end up going with something really easy. Sometimes I make some weird combos that other people wouldn't like necessarily. You know, I mix Marmite in places where it shouldn't be, or I add frozen peas to just about everything. Well, who doesn't love that? Today I just finished up my workday and went for a little walk to the grocery store and just started poking around and seeing what I was in the mood for. I saw some tortilla chips that looked good, and then it kind of made me think nachos. But then I thought, I need something more substantial than nachos, because if I eat nachos for dinner, I'm gonna eat like way too many nachos. So then I thought, ooh, I'll make some potato nachos. I already had some cute little new potatoes in my cupboard, so I just sliced those up and drizzled them with some olive oil, salt, bit of garlic powder, onion powder, and some chili flakes. I had this Aleppo chili powder that I really like. I kind of wanted to give the potatoes a bit of a Dorito savoriness. And then I just threw them in the oven. And I didn't cut them too thin. I mean, I know some people who do potato nachos, they make the potatoes really thin like chips, but I really want something that I can sink my teeth into here. So I left them on the thick side. A lot of these potatoes just went in half. Potatoes are in the oven now, and I'm just gonna make a bunch of stuff, and I'm gonna make these potato nachos pretty loaded. So I've got some cherry tomatoes. I don't have a knife though, that's a thing. And I mean, I'm not gonna tell you what to put on your nachos. I'm just gonna give you a little idea of what I'm putting on my nachos. There's part of me when I think of something like potato nachos, it reminds me of The Simpsons, the nachos Flanders style, where it's just slices of cucumber with cottage cheese, which I think is one of the funniest things ever. And yeah, I'm using tomatoes again. It's only April, but I can't stop with the tomatoes right now. I'm just really craving them, and they're not in season, but we're really lucky in BC to have some hothouses in the province that grow pretty good tomatoes and cucumbers year round. So I'm just going for it, you know? I'm just getting what I want. I'm gonna chop some cilantro. A little tip on washing cilantro or any herbs. I do find that it's best to take the twist tie off of the bunch of herbs when you buy it, because I don't know if you noticed, but whenever your herbs start to go bad and rotten, it's usually happening all up around that twist tie. Like those leaves are all packed together and they start going brown and yellow and mushy. So if you take the twist tie off, you can just take the whole bunch of herbs and just submerge it in water. So I like to get a bowl of water, kind of like I do lettuce, like I showed you on the salad episode. And just give it a really good dunk. Make sure that it's completely submerged in the water. If you were to run it under the tap, the dirt would just like move around inside of the bunch of cilantro and that never actually make its way out. But if you submerge it right in water, it's actually like removing the dirt, and all the dirt will sink to the bottom of the bowl. So that's the way I like to do it. And then actually, my new way to do fresh herbs is just to roll it right up in a tea towel, and then I'll just put the whole tea towel in the fridge with, maybe I'll put it in like my scrap tub if I have a scrap tub going on, or just like a reused bag or something. And it's great. It just keeps the moisture away. It doesn't use a bunch of paper towels, and works. Anyway, I'm not usually that fussed about picking cilantro, so I'm gonna stop fussing now. And I'm just gonna give it a rough chop. I want this to be a bit of a finishing touch. What else? I'm gonna grate some cheese. I have some cave-aged cheddar here that I'd never seen before. It looks pretty good. Thought I'd give it a go. I'm gonna use probably quite a bit of it. I thought about maybe some meat. I was maybe gonna get some rotisserie chicken to put on here, or a bit of ground beef or something. And then I just thought, nah, go veggie. And actually I have a little tub with some leftover refried beans in the fridge. So I'm actually just gonna like blob that on instead of using black beans or something for a little extra protein. Might be weird, but like I said, weird dinners are the way to go when you're just cooking for yourself. It's the best. I'm gonna check the potatoes. The potatoes aren't quite cooked yet, but I wanted to throw some corn in the oven with the potatoes. So I'm just gonna sprinkle it right on the sheet. You know I love my frozen corn. Just a little drizzle of oil for the corn, not much. And then I'm gonna toss it. I'm gonna guess that these potatoes are gonna take another 5 minutes or so, maybe 5 to 10. And that's enough time for the corn to get a little bit roasty and toasty. Now I'm just gonna make a quick guac. I'm not even really gonna call it guac because I'm a real avocado obsessed person. Like I've always loved avocado since as long as I can remember, really. And I find that if you do too much to avocado, it kind of feels like a bit of a shame to me. Like my favorite way to eat it is just with a spoon straight out of the skin. So if I'm gonna mash it, I definitely don't wanna like pulverize it till it's absolute mush. I just wanna kind of bust it up a little bit. And instead of making a true guac, I'm just gonna add a few enhancements. So I'm just gonna scoop it into a bowl. And I should probably only use half because it's just me after all, and I don't want leftovers. So I'll just give it a little mash with a fork. This one is kind of ripe-ish. And then I'm just gonna add in a few pinches of salt. And then roll my lime to get lots of juice out and just squeeze a bit of lime juice in. And that might be it, you know. I would sometimes put cilantro in, but I'm putting cilantro on top of the nachos anyway. So yeah, I think that's all I'm gonna do. Just a little avo mashed with some lime and salt. That's perfect. What else? What else do I want on my nachos? What am I missing? Onion. See, I'm using a recycled rice cracker bag to store my onions. It's really, the downfall of doing the reusing thing is that it's hard to find things sometimes, but I usually remember, you know, it's like, oh yeah, the onion, of course it's in the rice cracker bag. Where else would it be? But the other people I live with have complained from time to time about not being able to find things. Okay, nice little bit of onion. I've got my refried beans that I've been kind of like chipping away at for the last few days for my lunches. And I'm just gonna blob that on. So let's do it. The potatoes and corn are so roasty. And actually I forgot how nice it is to roast corn. As long as you don't let it go too far because it'll get dry and kind of like crumbly. But if you roast it just enough, you really smell that corn aroma through your house, which is so nice. Here we go. I think I do cheese first because cheese helps everything stick. And yeah, it's a lot, but I kind of feel like it's nachos, you know? And then I've got my experimental refried bean blobs. Just gonna put a few blobs here and there. This is maybe more bean than what you would prefer, and that's okay. They're my nachos. Okay. Tomatoes. It's starting to look like what I'd like to get when I go to the pub. I find that it's really hard to find a good nacho at the pub though, isn't it? They're always disappointing. Actually, I find it's one of those things that Good nachos often happen at bad restaurants. Like I find that there's lots of restaurants where the only good thing they have is their nachos, but then you go to really good restaurants and their nachos are crap. I don't know why. I normally do onions last because I like them to get a lot of exposure from the oven heat. When I put them on pizza and stuff, it's the same. I usually like them to be last. Unless there's pepperoni involved, and because I like pepperoni to be crispy. Okay, so that's just my little weird nacho masterpiece. I'm gonna put it back in the oven for about 5 minutes until the cheese melts. I'm so excited to eat these. Look how good. Okay, so the final touch is just to sprinkle the cilantro on top. Maybe squeeze a little lime. And those are ready for my solo evening in front of the TV probably. I do have one more tip though, so come on over to the couch and I'll show you. When you're dipping something that's kind of hard to dip or like awkward or a bit chunky or something, like potatoes for example, or calamari, if it's just you or if it's you and someone close to you, it's a lot easier to dip the fork and then fork whatever you're dipping. This is my hack. Let me show you. See, these potatoes are a little awkward and they're kind of hard to dip and like stuff falls off of them. And also like the guac is thick as well. So this just isn't gonna work. So my recommendation is to first dip your fork in the guac and then stab your potato. See? I do this all the time. I do it with calamari. Calamari is really a good one because, you know, all that batter falls off and it's the perfect bite. Another perk of this system is that you don't mess up the salsa or whatever the dip is. Just keep it right there on the fork. Delicious. I'm gonna find something to watch now. Thanks so much for making nachos with me. I hope you like this one. You know, really simple, but that's what it's all about, right? If you'd like to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe and leave a like, and I'll be sure to make more. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.